very good evening and welcome to the News at 6, where we get you the day's top developing stories, whether it be from India or abroad. We are of course getting you the top story, which is of course regarding the Janata Parivar. We'll get you details of that. I'm Tracy Shrishi and here are the headlines. Samajwadi Party Chief Mulayam Singh Yadav names Nitish Kumar as the Chief Ministerial Candidate for JDU-RJD Alliance for the upcoming elections in Bihar. Centre appoints Vijay Sharma as the new Chief Information Commissioner. Former CBDT Chief KV Chaudhary is named the new Central Vigilance Commissioner. New audio tape evidence surfaces against Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu in the cash for vote scam. TDP files cases of defamation against the Telangana CM. And the Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan loses majority. The country faces a prospect of a coalition government. Our top story, JDU leader Nitish Kumar will be Janata Parivar's CM candidate for the upcoming Bihar Assembly polls. Janata Parivar Chief Mulayam Singh Yadav made the announcement earlier today, ending all speculation of problems within the alliance. The seat-sharing formula, however, will be finalized by a committee that will hold its first meeting on Tuesday.
Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar will be the Chief Ministerial candidate of the JDU-RJD Alliance in the state. Ending all speculation, Samajwadi Party Supremo Mulayam Singh Yadav made the announcement in the presence of RJD Chief Lalu Yadav. On his part, Lalu said the alliance was formed to fight the communalist forces in the state.
रहेंगे और रहते रहे, वही लोग हम सब हैं। लेकिन मैं लालू प्रसाद जी को विशेष धन्यवाद देते हैं कि उन्होंने मुख्यमंत्री के लिए नीतीश कुमार जी का नाम पेश किया है और कहा कि हम कैंपेन करेंगे और हम सांप्रदायिक शक्तियों को हराएंगे।
देखिए, तरह तरह की बातें मैं जानता हूं कि सांप्रदायिक ताकतें किस तरह से काम करती है। जगह जगह जो है, अब नाम लेने से नहीं, जो मीडिया में भी जो सांप्रदायिक ताकतों से प्रभावित है लोग बोलते रहते हैं। तो हम लोगों ने देखा कि नीड ऑफ द आवर है। नीतीश तो मुख्यमंत्री है, समर्थन जारी है।
However, there was no clarity on whether the left parties and the Congress will be part of this alliance, although Nitish claims that the Congress is with them.
बाई इलेक्शंस हुए थे 10 स्थान पर पिछले साल, तो उसमें जेडीयू, आरजेडी और कांग्रेस के बीच में तालमेल था। इसलिए आगे के तालमेल में तो कांग्रेस पार्टी शामिल है ही।
The NDA, however, dismisses the alliance as one of opportunism and mistrust.
हताश, हारे हुए, मजबूर लोगों ने मजबूरी में गठबंधन किया है। तो बिहार की जनता देखेगी वो नीतीश कुमार जो 17-18 साल से लालू जी के कुशासन का विरोध करते थे भाजपा के साथ, आज उनके साथ आकर के नया बिहार बनाएंगे।
ये कुछ नहीं होने वाला है, ये नौटंकी चल रही है और उसमें ये मैं आज भी फिर भविष्यवाणी करता हूं कि ये गठबंधन क्या कहते हैं कि नहीं होगा और एनडीए वहां 2/3 बहुमत से जीत करके हम पावर में आएंगे।
With the clarity now on the Chief Ministerial candidate, the focus now shifts on a seat-sharing formula. That will be decided by a committee comprising leaders of both the RJD and the JDU. With inputs from Shyam Sundar and Pranav Goswami, Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
In other news, former Chief of the Central Board of Direct Taxation, KV Chaudhary, has been appointed as the Central Vigilance Commissioner, while the senior-most Information Commissioner, Vijay Sharma, has been named as the new Chief Information Commissioner. The government and the opposition had on the 1st of June agreed on the names of the CIC and the CVC posts that were lying vacant for over 9 months. The agreement came after 2 meetings between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the leader of the Congress in Lok Sabha, Mallikarjun Kharge, in 2 different committees. Now, the cash for vote scam in Telangana has reached the doorstep of the Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu. An audio tape released by rival TRS points fingers at Naidu, a charge vehemently denied by the TDP. As allegations and counter-allegations fly thick and fast, both the parties are now headed for a bitter face-off.
On the day he completed 1 year in office, Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu got embroiled in a major controversy, a cash for votes allegation. A local news channel in Telangana has aired a taped phone conversation where allegedly Naidu is heard asking a nominated MLA to back a TDP candidate in the state's Legislative Council elections. The Andhra Pradesh government denies it is the Chief Minister's voice on the tape, accusing rival TRS of doctoring it.
Whole episode started by TRS party, manipulation, maneuvering, bribe, everything, conspiracy, everything from TRS side. As far as TDP is concerned, we have nothing to do with these tapes or money transactions. We are very clear on that.
Multiple cases of defamation and illegal phone tapping have now been filed against Telangana Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao. Naidu even met State Governor ESL Narasimhan seeking his intervention on the matter. The Telangana government, however, is unwilling to let Naidu off the hook. The state's Anti-Corruption Bureau is planning to summon the Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister for questioning.
अगर चंद्रबाबू नायडू साहब तैयार है तो दोनों भी बैठ जाते हैं लाइव टीवी के सामने और लाइव डिटेक्टर टेस्ट ले लेते हैं। चंद्रबाबू नायडू साहब ने किसी को भेजा या नहीं, किसी को उन्होंने पैसे की ऑफर किया कि नहीं, करप्ट प्रैक्टिसेस के लिए जो जाने जाते हैं वो उसमें इंडल्ज किया कि नहीं, उनको सामने बताना पड़ेगा।
As allegations fly thick and fast across the border, voices seeking Naidu's resignation are becoming louder.
इस तरह से चंद्रबाबू नायडू मुख्यमंत्री आंध्र प्रदेश वो खुद उसमें इन्वॉल्व नजर आए हैं और उनकी कन्वर्सेशन टेप है। किसी आधार पर कि तथ्यों के आधार पर ये मांग उठाई जा रही है कि चंद्रबाबू नायडू को इस्तीफा दे देना चाहिए, तो वो इस्तीफा दें, जांच के को स्वीकार करें और अगर तथ्य सही पाए जाते हैं तो हमेशा के लिए राजनीति से संन्यास लें।
चंद्रबाबू नायडू पीबी नरसिंहा राव की तरह से इसमें फंसे हैं। जैसे नरसिंहा राव जी जेएमएम कांड में अभियुक्त थे, श्री चंद्रबाबू नायडू का भी वैसा ही हश्र होगा जैसा झारखंड मुक्ति मोर्चे में श्री नरसिंहा राव जी का हुआ था।
The cash for vote scam emerged on the 31st of May with the arrest of TDP MLA Revant Reddy and 2 others. They are accused of bribing nominated MLA Elvis Stevenson to vote for a TDP nominee. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The Delhi government today issued a new advisory banning the controversial two-finger test to determine sexual assault. The new directions now say that the test will be done only if it is needed for treatment purposes. In a controversial advisory late last month, remember, the government shocked lawyers and women activists by stating that the test could be conducted with the consent of rape survivors.
More than a week after it triggered a storm with its advisory to determine sexual assault, the Delhi government on Monday clarified that it was misinterpreted.
वो जो एडवाइजरी जिसकी बात आप कर रहे हैं, 6 महीने पहले एक एक्सपर्ट कमेटी ने रिपोर्ट दी थी जिसको कि लागू कर दिया, सर्कुलेट किया गया। आप इसको विड्रॉ कर लिया? विड्रॉ का मतलब इन्हें क्लैरिफाई कर दिया।
The 31st May advisory of the Delhi government attracted widespread criticism from health experts and women's activists.
Their main election agenda was of women's safety and security, and we are demanding that the Delhi government should make all effort to ensure the Delhi women their constitutional rights, and that should be their main focus instead of taking such anti-women decisions or issuing such anti-women guidelines. It is absolutely unnecessary, this two-finger test, and I am happy that the Delhi government has withdrawn that statement. It's well and good.
In 2013, the Supreme Court noted that the two-finger test on sexual assault victims violated the privacy of the victim, following which the Union Health Ministry banned it.
What is surprising that after such clear Supreme Court guidelines, how the Aam Aadmi-led Delhi government has come out with a notification instructing hospitals to carry out the two-finger test. A government which said would protect the rights of women, would empower women. Is this empowerment? This is a clear degradation and inhuman practice towards women. It should be withdrawn immediately. In fact, even if it is withdrawn, the Supreme Court must pass strictures against the government, the Delhi government, for coming out with such a notification.
The Delhi government had asked hospitals to take informed consent of the woman before conducting the test. It has now said that the test will be banned on survivors unless it's required for treatment purposes. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now let's give you some other national stories. Let's take you nationwide. The Pakistani army violated ceasefire along the line of control in Poonch district of Jammu and Kashmir late on Sunday evening. Pakistani army fired several rounds at the Indian army post in Balakot sector. Firing from the other side of the LOC also triggered explosions of several landmines on the border. The Congress joined other opposition parties including the DMK and the PMK in boycotting the 27 June by-polls to Radhakrishnan Nagar constituency. AIDMK Supremo and Tamil Nadu Chief Minister J. Jayalalitha is seeking the re-election from here. The Congress has alleged that the ruling AIADMK was following unfair practices with the knowledge of the Election Commission. Kalanidhi Maran promoted Sun TV shares crashed over 25% on Monday amid reports that 33 television channels may go off-air. The Home Ministry had struck down an I&B Ministry proposal for giving security clearance to these channels of the Sun TV network, a move that could lead to the cancellation of their broadcasting license. A Supreme Court bench recused itself from hearing the plea of BJP leader Subramanian Swamy against the order of an Assam trial court issuing a non-bailable warrant against him. The trial court issued the warrant after Swamy failed to appear before it in a case of alleged hate speech. A quick break here. Up next, international news, and on the second day of the G7 summit in Germany, climate and terrorism are on agenda.
Watch the world come alive in your living room. Defining moments. Momentous events. News Tonight, your window to the world. Every night at 9 p.m.
Welcome back. You're watching the news at 6 now. International news, and Turkey's ruling AK party suffered a major blow, failing to win a majority in the just concluded parliamentary elections. With 98% votes counted so far, AKP secured 259 of the 550 seats, which means that they will have to form a coalition or face entering a minority government. Surprisingly, the opposition pro-Kurdish party crossed the 10% seat threshold in the Turkish parliament for the first time. Here are the details.
Winds of change in Turkey.
Ahmet Davutoğlu geliyor.
For the first time in last 13 years, the ruling Justice and Development Party suffered a stunning blow in the country's parliamentary elections. Although a seemingly confident Turkish Prime Minister Ahmet Davutoğlu maintained that the ruling AKP is still the winner.
Başkanımız demokratik tahammül gereği birinci olan partinin, AK Parti'nin genel başkanı Sayın Başbakanımıza hükümet kurma görevini verecektir. Ve ben Sayın Başbakanımızın süresi içerisinde gerçekten Türkiye'nin bu seçim sonuçlarında
Celebrations broke out on the other side as Turkey's main opposition parties welcomed the game-changing results. Pro-Kurdish People's Democratic Party made major historic gains, crossing the 10% threshold for the first time.
13 yıldır gittikçe baskıcı bir yönetim anlayışına dönüşen iktidar bugün itibariyle sandıkta
HDP'nin barajı aşması Kürt halkı için çok büyük bir gelişmedir. Ve bu siyasi anlamda artık bizim partimiz siyasi anlamda gerekli müdahaleleri bulunabilecek.
I think it's an end of a period, it's a long period that the AKP had enjoyed ruling the country on its own, the way it liked, because it had always a good parliamentary majority, so that it could legislate everything. So it seems that this is an end of an era.
With nearly all votes counted, the AKP is likely to win 258 out of the 550 seats 18 seats short of absolute majority. The electoral verdict, however, puts in doubt President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's proposal to transfer power from the Prime Minister's office into his hands. Erdogan first came to power as Prime Minister in 2003. He had sought a two-third majority this time to turn Turkey into a presidential republic. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
So what's the road ahead for Turkey? Is it trying to establish itself as an Islamist nation? The Kurdish identity really. We'll speak more on that with Shiv Shankar Mukherjee, who's a former ambassador, joining us in studio this evening. First of all, Mr. Mukherjee, did the election results come to you as a surprise, or it was in the offing for you?
Well, it certainly must have come as a surprise to President Erdogan, because he'd made it almost a referendum on his desire to more or less convert the system in Turkey to a presidential form of government. I mean, the whole point was to get to the figure of 367 seats, which would have given him a two-thirds majority to amend the constitution without a referendum. With a normal majority like he had over the last two elections, he would still need a referendum. So this is, apart from the fact that he is no longer even a majority, these are the two factors which are a major setback for him and his ambitions to be a strong executive president with control over the constitutional amendments he wants. And on the Islamist question, yes, you must remember Turkey's history. The founder of modern Turkey, Mustafa Kemal, who's known as the Grey Wolf, he had left a strong secular tradition behind in Turkey, and more than that, he had left the army behind as the guardian of Turkey's secularism. But ever since President Erdogan's party took power, the Islamist tinge of politics in Turkey has been stressed. If you remember, even till today, I mean, Turkey strongly backed the anti-Bashar Assad forces dominated by the Muslim Brotherhood in Syria.
Yes.
He backed Morsi in Egypt of the Muslim Brotherhood. He failed in both cases because Morsi has been deposed. Whether it's right or wrong, that's for others to say, but in Egypt, the army has taken over rule again. In Syria, Bashar continues to rule after 4 years of the civil war.
Yes.
The second important fact was pointed out in your report and in Rajya Sabha, the reporter's report, which is the entrance into parliament for the first time of the Kurdish party, with 13% of the vote, more than the 10% threshold.
Yes.
And that may be good news according to most observers of Turkish politics, because as you know, the PKK, which is more or less the radical movement that has been fighting for Kurdish rights for many years and very often using violent means in confrontation with the state, the fact that they are now in parliament and have a voice may lead to actually an acceleration of the peace process that already exists. And they may feel that this is a time to be able to get their rights perhaps peacefully, because they would get a little more oxygen from the fact that just across the border there is a Kurdish enclave in Iraq, which is virtually independent without really being a nation. So these are I think the next few days will see matters getting clarified, because now there will be a hunt for a coalition government.
Yes.
And this has to be completed within 45 days.
Yes.
Because if it is not done within 45 days, then Turkey will have to face fresh elections.
And that's something Erdogan perhaps now, after these elections, these results, would like to avoid, wouldn't he? But also give us a sense very quickly of Erdogan in the past 12 years. I mean, yes, the autocratic rule, of course, is something that everyone's been talking about, how much, he's... the wealth that he's collected, but he's also done good for Turkey the past few years. I mean, it's opened up its doors to tourism for one. As far as the West is concerned, they're probably seeing Turkey they haven't seen in the past few years before Erdogan.
Quite right, but this is again what has happened many times in elections across the world and different nations. Not now, but if you look at the recent history. On the one hand, you may have a ruler who does all the right economic things, and Turkey has been a sound economy, more or less. I mean, it has grown. It has been for long poised and very keen to join the European Union, which hasn't quite happened. It is a substantial economy, really, it is geopolitically extremely important.
Yes.
Across the Bosphorus lies Europe, and this side it is one of the important movers and shakers in West Asia.
Yes.
It has a huge influence right across Central Asia with all its mineral wealth and so on, because even the languages in Central Asia really are sourced from Turkic. So, on the one hand, you may do these things, the right things for the economy overall. On the other hand, if politically, socio-politically, you are not sharing the pie with the minorities and others,
yes,
then you face the political disenchantment that these results prove in Turkey. The fact that, like they used to say about Mussolini's rule, the fact that the trains run on time does not really give you all that you need for continued popularity and continued support. There are other things needed.
Forget Mussolini's rule, Mr. Mukherjee. Right here in India as well, we're seeing that with the NDA government, just 1 year. And that's what we are, economy-wise, perhaps everything is doing well, but then you never know what's eventually going to be trickling down to the Aam Aadmi.
You cannot just concentrate on economic growth without forgetting that you have to address a whole lot of other social issues as well.
Absolutely. We'll leave it there for now, Mr. Mukherjee. Thanks so much for joining us, sharing with us your expertise really of the region and also giving us a sense of what we can expect in the few days to come. Thank you so much. Meanwhile, let's on to more international news. And leaders of the G7 countries are meeting in Germany's Bavarian Alps for the second day today, talking on climate change and terrorism. That's, of course, going to be dominating the summit, even as security remained tight in and around Germany after mass anti-globalization protests yesterday.
An unambiguous 1,000-meter wide message from Greenpeace for the G7 nation leaders, who met in Germany's Bavarian hills for the second day. German Chancellor Angela Merkel put the climate change high on agenda as a precursor to the UN Climate Summit in Paris later in December. Merkel warns G7 nations to reach an agreement on limiting global temperature rise.
We're going to discuss our shared future, combating threats from violent extremism to climate change.
The G7 leaders will be joined by presidents from Iraq, Nigeria and Tunisia. They will focus on the threat of Islamist terrorism posed by Islamic State and Boko Haram.
We'll also have a chance to talk about hotspots like Libya and Nigeria, where obviously terrorism has gotten a foothold.
The need to fight Islamist extremist terrorism, particularly in Iraq and Syria, but elsewhere around the world. It's about keeping people safe back at home, where the cooperation between our security and intelligence services and our military is as close as it's ever been and as effective as it's ever been.
Security remains tight in Bavarian Alps. Following protests from several groups, over 20,000 police officials have been deployed to ensure peace. Hundreds have gathered to protest over a number of international issues ranging from climate change to free trade. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
With that, let's take you through some more international news in Global Buzz. Chinese authorities confirmed 434 deaths in the Yangtze River cruise ship capsize that took place on the 1st of June. Rescue officials said 2 more bodies were recovered on Monday, bringing down the number of missing people to 8. Only 14 people could be rescued after the accident. Mexican President Enrique Pena Nieto's party won the congressional elections despite falling approval ratings and violent election day protests in many states. His Institutional Revolution Party, or the PRI, was expected to win between 29 to 30% of the ballots, followed by the Conservative National Action Party with 21% to 22%. At least 19 militants, including top commanders and 7 soldiers, were killed in intense fighting between Pakistani troopers and Taliban insurgents in the country's northwest tribal areas. The fighting took place near the Afghan border in North Waziristan, where militants continue to remain active despite a year-old military operation. In South Korea, growing cases of the disease known as the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, or MERS, have caused a sharp drop in tourist numbers. According to the Tourism Authority, 4,500 tourists from Asia, including those from Chinese mainland, Taiwan and Hong Kong, cancelled their trips in June. Meanwhile, the total MERS infections in the country surged to 87% with 23 new cases. The first MERS case was reported on the 20th of May. Now, changing tracks, wine improves with age, and so do tennis players, it seems. At 30, Stanislas Wawrinka has become the oldest player to win the French Open in a quarter of a century, and he did it by beating two big guns en route, world number 2 Roger Federer in the quarters and world number 1 Novak Djokovic in the final.
On Sunday, Stan Wawrinka stunned the world and its top men's tennis player Novak Djokovic by winning his maiden French Open title. The 30-year-old Swiss played some magnificent tennis to win the match 4-6, 6-4, 6-3, 6-4, shattering Djokovic's dream of completing a career Grand Slam.
For me, this one is really special for sure. Playing Novak in final, the number one player, almost winning everything since the beginning of the year. And especially the way I played and the way I finished the match, the way I was focused all the match, the way I changed the momentum.
I lost to a better player who played some courageous tennis and deserved to win.
This was the second Grand Slam title for Wawrinka, making him the only active player not to have lost a Grand Slam final. His first Grand Slam title was the Australian Open in 2014, where he beat Rafael Nadal in 4 sets.
6-3, 6-3, 6-3 after a final that was dramatic.
The title has helped the Swiss to move up 5 places in the world ranking, climbing up to the 4th spot. Winning the title at 30 makes him the oldest player to win French Open in 25 years. But despite his age, the Swiss has emerged as a force to reckon with in the last few years. He is only one of 3 players to have beaten the Big Four: Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, Novak Djokovic and Andy Murray in Grand Slams. Bureau Report, Rajya TV.
Now with that, let's also get you the sporting buzz in Sports Speed. The Indian cricket team arrived in Dhaka today for playing one test match and a one-day series. India will start the tour with the test match on the 10th of June. It will be followed by 3 ODIs starting the 18th of June. Virat Kohli will lead the side in the tests, while Dhoni will lead the ODI team. Off-spinner Harbhajan Singh returns to the squad after playing his last international match in March 2013. Lewis Hamilton took a controlled victory in the Canadian Grand Prix to race away to his 4th win of the season. His Mercedes teammate Nico Rosberg finished second, followed by Williams' Valtteri Bottas. Hamilton has now extended his driver's championship lead to 17 points. A leading FIFA official has said that Russia and Qatar could lose the right to host the 2018 and the 2022 World Cups if evidence of corruption is found in the bidding process. The comments came as bribery claims mounted against disgraced former FIFA Vice President Jack Warner. Swiss judicial authorities are already probing the awarding of the World Cups to Russia and Qatar. That's all we have for you on the news at 6. The news, of course, continues after a break.